I called his house a month after 9/11 when he was in the San Jose Mercury News saying the government did it. And there was a woman screaming in the background saying, they've threatened us. I told you, hang it up. No, no, no. This is the real world. This is what we deal with. The people running the government are the ones that blew up Oklahoma City and that daycare center. And I've had the cops on. I've had the head of HUD who was there and saw the feds planting the bombs. They said, oh, it's just a telephone work. I've had them all on. I've had cops on who saw the feds with the bombs and the rest of it, and they came to him in the Oklahoma City, you know, to the sergeant's office, the head of the K-9 unit, and said, you and your wife are dead. I've had Officer Browning on this show. You're dead if you look into this anymore, okay? They did it. We caught the FBI anti-terrorism director there the day before saying he wasn't with the hotel receipts and eyewitnesses. They did it. We've caught them. They are the terrorist. Okay? Now let me give you the worldwide alert. As this article goes on, these extremists, sometimes known as sovereign citizens who know you're the terrorist, believe they can live outside any type of government authority. No, you live outside the Bill of Rights and Constitution, so you're illegitimate. Marbury versus Madison. You are openly saying you can secretly arrest us and kill us. You are lawless criminals. Just like Hitler may have said he was the law in Germany, but I say he didn't. You may have your little 10 badges and the rest of it, but my warrant is sworn out by the Republic and by common sense and organic law and the Bill of Rights and by God Almighty. You like that? You like my badge? You know it. It's called fearlessness in your murdering face. Killers. We're going to defeat you and you know it. I will it. And millions of others will it with me right now. And what we agree on earth together, God makes it done in heaven. I'm sick of you murdering scum. Continuing, the extremists may refuse to pay taxes, defy government environmental, you mean UN regulations, and believe the United States went bankrupt. It's on record we did. It's all in the War Powers Act. Read it. Routine encounters with police can turn violent at the drop of a hat. Yeah, you pull somebody over their family. You start talking about how you're going to take them to jail because they can't pay all their tickets because you bankrupted them. So now they say the CPS. They start calling to have the CPS come pick the kids up. Yeah, you bet people can't handle it anymore. When you send your Nazis to pick up their kids, a bunch of pot-bellied pedophiles, you bet people are sick of you. Routine encounters with police can turn violent at the drop of a hat, said Stuart MacArthur, Deputy Assistant Director in FBI's Counterterrorism Division. Gotta love that, Counterterror Division. You mean the folks that ship guns into Mexico? To blame the Second Amendment? You mean those kind of terror attacks? We thought it was important to increase the visibility of the threat with the state and local law enforcement. They're getting ready for some new Oklahoma cities to blame us. And they want the cops to go, you did warn us. You care about us. Yeah, we're sorry they hit the local police department daycare center. Don't know how the terrorists found that one. Oh, yeah. Oh, and if you're a local cop and catch them, get video, get it out that day, or they'll kill you. They killed a lot of cops and a lot of other people at OKC, and a lot from 9/11. They'll kill you in a minute. A lot of you are cowards. They call up and threaten you and your family. You'll just roll over right there. We thought it was important to increase the visibility of the threat with state and local law enforcement, he said. In May of 2002, West Memphis, Arkansas police officers were shot and killed in an argument that developed after they pulled over a sovereign citizen in traffic. That whole thing was really shady. Last year, an extremist in Texas opened fire on a police officer during a traffic stop. The officer was not hit. Legal convictions of such extremists, mostly for white-collar crimes as fraud, that means actually suing the criminals back, have increased, and it just goes on. And they're going on to say, get ready for it to happen. Now, let me give you the worldwide terror alert. This is a maximum alert. Okay, a lot of data goes into this, a lot of data points. But I can see them gearing up for the new war, all of it, and they're going to want to clamp down on free speech and the rest of it. They know we're getting close to them. InfoWars issues emergency terror alert. Threat of false flag event has never been greater, given the fact that the U.S. and Israel are both yearning for a casus belli to launch an attack on Iran, added to recent history where a staged provocation was considered, and in addition to the innumerable examples of false flags overseen by the Obama administration alone, the threat of staged terror has never been greater. Unlike the plethora of fake terror alerts that former Homeland Security Director Tom Ridge admitted were issued for political propaganda, this one is very serious indeed. And I'm giving you specific threats. U.S. intelligence officials, that's the people doing it, last week upped the rhetoric against Iran during congressional testimony by claiming that Tehran is preparing to launch reprisal attacks inside the United States. And they also separately in the Brookings Institution and others said that they would stage a provocation. Like we don't read that, like we're idiots. Director of National Intelligence James R. Clapper Jr. cited the alleged Iranian plot to assassinate a Saudi ambassador on U.S. soil as a sign that some Iranian officials, probably including Supreme Leader, have changed their calculus and are now willing to conduct an attack in the United States in response to real or perceived U.S. actions that threaten the regime. Is that why they've laid there even in the region and taken the attacks inside their country? As we documented at the time, according to U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, no information concerning the supposed plot even existed within FBI channels, strongly suggesting the story was manufactured by the Obama administration. The New York Times also reported that dubious nature of the plot caused a wave of puzzlement and skepticism from some foreign leaders and outside experts. Advocates of an attack on Iran have implied the U.S. could stage a provocation. We have links to them saying it. As a pretext for a military assault. In January of 2008, Dick Cheney's office considered staging an incident, we have a link to Pulitzer Prize winner writing about that, to blame on Iran warships, and U.S. ships patrolling the Strait of Hormuz were attacked. The big threat is domestic, folks. That's what they're gearing up for. Despite this sordid history of lies that were manufactured about weapons of mass destruction, Niger Yellowcake, and dodgy dossiers to justify the invasion of Iraq in 2003, we're seeing history repeat itself as the U.S. seeks to exploit another artificial crisis as a pretext to back the Israeli attack on Iran. Numerous examples since Obama took office illustrate how this administration and the intelligence agencies that surround it are by no means reticent to bizarrely lie and stage events for political purposes. Despite the Obama administration's best efforts to characterize Operation Fast and Furious, an ATF program that sought to put U.S.-based firearms in the hands of Mexican drug smugglers as little more than a screw-up, the most damning evidence strongly indicates that the whole operation, well, CBS News got the fact that it was, doesn't indicate, is an attempt to launch a false flag assault on the Second Amendment of the American people. Yeah, they said they'd blame it on that. Obama himself told gun control advocate Sarah Brady last year that his administration was working under the radar to sneak attack the Second Amendment just months before the Fast and Furious scandal leaked. And at the same time as the administration officials were blaming violence in Mexico on the Second Amendment, when in reality the administration itself was responsible for arming the drug cartels. These are terrorists. 8 agencies involved. A further example of false flag attack under the current administration involves the Christmas Day underwear bomber, who was helped through security despite being on a terrorist watch list with no passport by a well-dressed Indian man on Christmas Day 2009. It later emerged the State Department was ordered, this is on C-SPAN, not to revoke his visa by federal counterterrorism officials, even though the accused bomber had known terrorist ties. That's a quote. In addition to the fact that his own father had warned U.S. intelligence officials on the threat posed by him a month before the attempted attack. While the public is now being told that terrorists are about to strike on U.S. soil, the U.S. government itself has warned that al-Qaeda-funded terrorists in Libya, again, while the public is being told that terrorists are about to strike on U.S. soil, the U.S. government itself has armed and funded al-Qaeda terrorists in Libya to overthrow Gaddafi and is now backing al-Qaeda groups in Iran to carry out bombings and assassinations. Links to the government admitting all this in an effort to undermine Ahmadinejad government. The same terrorists used in Libya were also subsequently airlifted to Syria as part of an effort to depose President Bashir Assad. Now, it goes on into the domestic areas, and that's the most important part of this. I'm going to have this updated there and point out that we are issuing a real terror threat because these governments are known to have staged terror attacks. They've been known to create provocations. They are the real suspects and the ones that have motive that stand to gain. Look, criminal interests have taken over our government and our society. They're funding foreign terrorists to menace us so they can take our rights and staging domestic events so they can go after free speech and continue to get away with their criminal activities. It's the oldest trick in the book, and it's happening. And I'm seeing massive media hype in movies, but also in nonfiction, but it really is fiction, nightly news. Everywhere they're saying the right-wingers are getting ready to attack. And there's all these advisors to Obama, Shapiro and others saying a big terror attack is the only thing that will save you. And now the media is saying get ready for the attack. And I've learned how to watch these people. So I want the system to know our people are everywhere. That's the only thing that's been holding it back so far, is the system knows we continue to catch them. We caught them on Fast and Furious. I reported on that 6 years ago. That's how I was able to tell you Bush was involved. And that Holder would then play that card on Issa. Months later, he did. I know how they work, the Mutual Blackmail Society. And, I mean, you can sit there and play chess with them all day, and you can see their next moves. And I'm telling you, they look like they're going for the terror card. And you've got Iran in there. They could just have Iran stage an attack, say Iran did it, or provocateurs, some group. Or they could claim that domestic groups hit and Iran hit and link that up. But now they're saying paying for coffee with cash and telling internet bars, internet shops, cafes to watch what you're surfing. Again, it's a total spy society. How about we watch you crooks? How about we watch the folks that are known for doing this? And I just called Paul during the break because we went over this article this morning. I'm going to have him up front. In the article, add the part about they're going after domestic, not just saying it's Al-Qaeda. It continues here. While the public is being told that terrorists are about to strike on U.S. soil, the U.S. government itself has armed and funded Al-Qaeda terrorists in Libya. And it goes through all that fact. It is crystal clear that the gigantic anti-terror apparatus itself, created in the aftermath of 9/11, is now being used against the American people, with citizens being trained to spy on each other under the auspices of Homeland Security, See Something, Say Something campaign. To illustrate the absurdity of how far this reaches, hot dog sellers at the recent Super Bowl were trained by the TSA to spot terrorists. Both the DHS and the FBI are also characterizing mundane behavior, such as paying for a cup of coffee with cash, using a video camera, talking to police officers. Yeah, talking's terrorism now. Wearing hoodies, driving vans, writing on a piece of paper. We have links to all this. And using a cell phone recording application as indicators of terrorist activity. How about working for a government that's been known to stage terror attacks and been caught doing it? How about that? To top it all off, the Obama administration was also instrumental in passing a provision of the NDAA bill, which authorizes the military to kidnap and incarcerate U.S. citizens without trial, merely on the accusation that they may be terrorists. The environment of fear and paranoia has been created as a result of all this, makes fertile ground for the government to stage a crisis or manufacture an emergency situation that will be used to rally the American people around a number of different domestic and geopolitical agendas. And again, Paul, I called him about an hour and a half before news time. We went over some notes, some points I wanted in this alert. He's going to add some more. He's going to point out that I warned in July of 2001 about the upcoming attack. I even called the target, and I did have Dr. Monteith coming on. I'm going to push him back 20 minutes into the next hour because I've got to continue breaking this down, how I know all this, okay? Again, we have a fraudulent government. I mean, they take kids from people who haven't even committed crimes. They're taking people's kids now who aren't even violating the truancy laws. We've got proof of that. It's a lawless group of criminals.